Hey, you're watching Rapid MMA. I'm Tyler. This video was supposed to be done yesterday, but unfortunately the power went out because of a storm, and it was out for up until the next day, so 6 p.m. yesterday up until about 10 a.m. today, and then the internet didn't come back until 4 o'clock p.m. today. So just a few quick thoughts on RDA and Alvarez. I'm picking Alvarez to win this fight, and I'll tell you why. Alvarez, we haven't seen his best showing yet in the UFC. We've seen glimpses of it here and there. I went back and looked over RDA's career because I was curious what his losses were, and I couldn't remember all of them, and I couldn't remember how he lost. And then I ended up watching all his fights, and I started to notice a pattern. RDA's UFC debut was against Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens at the time really liked to swing the right hand, and he didn't use a lot of lateral movement and basically ran around trying to follow RDA around the octagon. But RDA at the time wasn't developed either. Obviously, it was his debut, and he was really skinny at the time, and he didn't really have the Muay Thai training. I mean, he still had good kicks. You could tell it was all there, but he really needed to work on it more. And he was still out fighting out of Brazil. Long story short, Jeremy Stephens catches him with a right uppercut and knocks him out in the third round. RDA's second fight was against Tyson Griffin. More of the same story, but Tyson much more refined as a kickboxer. A lot of right hands landed for Tyson in this fight, and RDA lost that one by decision. Rob Emerson had success. Kyle Bradley landed some good right hands and one notable uppercut. And this is when RDA came back from training in Singapore, looking much more muscular. Both these fights, RDA won by decision. Against Terry Edom, Dos Anjos circled into a head kick early, because at the time he kept circling to his opponent's power hand. That made him initiate a takedown. He ended up right in a guillotine, and Edom was really tall, and RDA decided it was just a little bit better to fight him on the ground, and he won that fight via second round submission. Now RDA's next fight is against a compact wrestler, really active footwork, and he likes to bomb the right hands, and that's Clay Guida. In the first round, Clay landed some really heavy right hands, and he broke RDA's jaw, and he stuck in there for 3 rounds until Clay took him down, and then he put pressure on the jaw, and RDA had to tap. There's a sense of RDA being super tough, but there's a reason why he got his jaw broken in the first round. He can't deflect that right hand for some reason. And then RDA defeated a jiu-jitsu guy who was George Soteropoulos, and then he lost to another compact striker type in Gleison Tibau by decision. So we're kind of noticing a theme here. RDA goes on to win his next 5 fights, including Evan Dunham and Donald Cerrone, but no one who's really that boxer-wrestler stylist until Khabib, who pressured RDA on the feet with strikes before grappling him to a decision victory. Eddie Alvarez hasn't exactly had the best showing in the UFC up to this point. We haven't seen all of what we know he can do. Alvarez is much more capable than what he's shown. I think many are assuming he'll try to lay and pray every opponent, but those are people who don't know anything about Eddie Alvarez's style. He's a decent boxer, has good kicks, actually very underrated kicks, and he can blend it in his wrestling very well. However, I don't see that being the focus. I don't see wrestling being the focus of Eddie's game, at least early on. I think he'll certainly use it, but I'm pretty confident we're going to see Eddie test out RDA's striking. But he's taken damage from Muay Thai stylists in the past. For example, Donald Cerrone, and he's failed to those kind of fighters like Anthony Pettis. The difference is that RDA is much more aggressive offensively than those guys, and with pressure, that plays right into Eddie's style. I think that's going to give RDA problems, and if he can't get Eddie Alvarez out of there early, I wonder how he's going to feel once he hits the third round, and Eddie's still in his face, he's still there, bloody but not beaten, and still pounding him with right hands, and then maybe blending in the wrestling later on. Now for Rafael Dos Anjos, I really think if he plays that pressure game smart, he doesn't try to get into exchanges in the pocket, he really has a good chance at winning this fight. He's got a good sense of using switch kicks to open up the southpaw stance. I really think that helps out his style. It's very Muay Thai based, and all those kicks can really fuck up Eddie. He's had a problem with that, but if he tries to refrain from getting into silly altercations with Eddie, and watching the left hook and the right hand, he should be pretty safe. And as long as he's able to deflect any takedowns, I see him outpointing and possibly even stopping Eddie Alvarez. I can see why RDA is the favorite in this fight without a doubt, but after just reviewing a lot of his fights, I feel like this is perfect for Eddie Alvarez. I think this is an easier fight for him, honestly, than somebody like Donald Cerrone, especially, because Donald Cerrone doesn't pressure as hard as somebody like Rafael Dos Anjos. So styles make fights. This is very interesting. I could see why a lot of people are going to pick RDA without a doubt. I can understand that. I see RDA winning just like everybody else does, but I think I see a way that Eddie Alvarez wins that nobody else really quite sees. So I was looking over how I think Eddie Alvarez might win, and I was going to choose decision, but I'm going to actually choose a stoppage. So I'm going to choose Eddie Alvarez via third round KO or TKO. So thank you guys for watching Rapid MMA. Make sure to subscribe if you like this video and leave a comment below with your thoughts on how you think this fight goes.